The idea of God has always fascinated humanity. Since ancient times, different cultures and religions have tried to understand and define who or what the supreme entity is. However, one of the most intriguing statements in the scriptures arises in the book of Exodus 3:14, when God reveals himself to Moses with the enigmatic phrase, "I am who I am." But what does this statement really mean? How can it change our understanding of God and our own existence? If you have ever wondered about the true nature of God, get ready, because what you are about to discover may challenge everything you know. Over the centuries, theologians and scholars have attempted to interpret these words, and surprisingly, they carry a much deeper meaning than they appear. This expression is not just a response, but a revelation about the very essence of God. A being that transcends time, does not depend on anyone to exist, and simply is. But what does "I am who I am" mean in the context of our reality? For Moses, this answer not only defined who God was, but also transformed his life forever. Before receiving this revelation, Moses was just an ordinary man, raised in the Pharaoh's palace, but living as an exile after making a fatal mistake. He felt incapable, unworthy, and purposeless. However, when God revealed himself to him, everything changed. The name "I Am" indicates an absolute, eternal, and unchanging being. Unlike the Egyptian gods, who needed rituals and sacrifices to exist in the people's imagination, God presents himself as the one who simply is. He does not need to be worshipped to continue existing. He does not depend on human approval, and his presence cannot be limited to a time or space. This statement challenges human understanding and invites us to reflect on what it means to trust in a God who exists by himself. If we look at the Bible as a whole, we will see that this idea of an eternal and self-sufficient God appears repeatedly. In Isaiah 44:6, God declares, "I'm the first and I am the last. Apart from me, there is no God." In Revelation 1:8, Jesus reaffirms this truth by saying, "I am the Alpha and the Omega, the beginning and the end." This shows us that the "I Am" revealed to Moses is the same one that manifests throughout the entire history of redemption. But why is this revelation so important to us today? In a world where everything is constantly changing, where nothing seems permanent, where even values are redefined with the eras, God remains the same. He is constant, unchanging, and absolute. This means that we can trust him regardless of the circumstances. How many times have we felt lost, disoriented, directionless? How many times have we sought answers in the wrong place? The revelation of "I Am" reminds us that God is not bound by human limitations. He is not affected by the world's instabilities, by the economy, by politics, or by people's decisions. He is sovereign and in control of all things. This truth also leads us to reflect on the impact of having a relationship with this God. Unlike false gods that demanded endless sacrifices, God offers relationship, closeness, and redemption. Moses, who once saw himself as incapable and small, became a powerful leader not by his own strength, but because the "I Am" was with him. This same promise is made to all who trust in God. In Matthew 28:20, Jesus says, "And surely I am with you always, to the very end of the age." The certainty that God is constant gives us security amid life's chaos. Knowing that he does not change means that his promises also do not change. Furthermore, there is an impressive detail in this revelation. In the Gospel of John, Jesus frequently uses the expression "I am" to describe himself. He says, "I am the bread of life," John 6:35. "I am the light of the world," John 8:12. "I am the way, the truth, and the life," John 14:6. "I am the resurrection and the life," John 11:25. This leads us to a shocking conclusion. Jesus not only identifies with God, but also invites us to know him personally. He is not a distant, unattainable, or indifferent God. He chose to manifest himself and walk among us, showing that the I Am is not just an abstract idea, but a living and accessible reality. Throughout history, many people have tried to redefine God. Some tried to mold him to their own beliefs, others denied his existence, and others limited him to a philosophical concept. But the truth is that God cannot be reduced to a simplistic explanation. He is greater than any ideology, any human system, or any religion. The revelation of I Am also challenges us with a personal question. Who is he to you? Is he just a distant concept, a religious tradition, or a reality present in your life? Moses could have ignored the voice coming from the burning bush, but he chose to listen and respond to the call. Many of us spend our lives seeking purpose, answers, and meaning without realizing that the key to all of this lies in God himself. He is not only the creator, but also the one who sustains all things, including our existence. The big question is, are we willing to trust him? Regardless of where you are right now, know that God continues to be I Am. He does not change, he does not fail, and he does not abandon us. This is a truth that transcends time and remains unshakable. Now that we understand the impact of this revelation, I invite you to reflect on your own journey. How does this truth affect your life? Have you experienced the presence of this God who simply is? Don't leave without first checking out what we have prepared for you. In the first pinned comment, we have left a special resource that can transform your view of God and help you understand this powerful revelation even more. If we observe the scriptures, we will see that the way God revealed himself to Moses was not an isolated event. The concept of I Am runs throughout the entire Bible, connecting the Old and New Testaments in an extraordinary way. However, the depth of this revelation is often underestimated. To fully understand this truth, we need to go back to the historical context in which this statement was made. The people of Israel had been in Egypt for centuries, living as slaves under the Pharaoh's rule. They cried out for liberation but seemed forgotten. Moses, who had been raised in the Egyptian palace, fled to the desert and became a simple shepherd. He was a broken man, without hope, without purpose. And then, the unexpected happens. Moses sees a burning bush that does not burn up. This supernatural phenomenon catches his attention, and as he approaches, he hears God's voice calling his name. This detail is essential. God does not just speak to Moses, but calls him by name. This shows that he knows each of us personally. He is not a distant God, but a relational God. The dialogue between God and Moses is fascinating. Moses hesitates. He questions his ability. He asks who he is to carry out such a mission. God, however, does not respond with empty motivational words. He simply declares, "I am who I am." This response not only reveals the divine identity, but also redefines Moses' role. God did not choose Moses because of his abilities, but because of his own sovereignty. He does not depend on our strength, knowledge, or social position. What he desires is a willing heart. Moses, even with his limitations, was used for an extraordinary purpose because he trusted in the I Am. This same dynamic repeats in various biblical stories. Gideon, for example, also doubted himself. He was the smallest in his family, from an insignificant tribe, and did not see himself as a warrior. However, God said to him, "I will be with you." Judges 6:16. This is the divine pattern. He calls those who consider themselves incapable and empowers them with his presence. Today, many still struggle with feelings of inadequacy. Society pressures us to prove our worth, to build an identity based on success, status, or achievements. But God teaches us something different. True value does not lie in what we have or do, but in who He is. The revelation of I Am not only shows us God's immutability, but also brings security amid the world's instability. When everything around us seems uncertain, when crises arise, and when we feel lost, we can stand firm in the truth that God remains the same. This revelation also has a profound impact on our relationship with Him. Many people see God only as a distant being, a stern judge ready to punish. Others view Him as a loving but undefined figure, almost like an impersonal energy. However, the Bible shows us that He is a personal God who desires to relate to us. Jesus is the greatest proof of this. In the Gospel of John, He repeatedly uses the expression I am, showing that He is the full manifestation of the God who revealed Himself to Moses. When He declares, I am the bread of life, He is saying that only in Him do we find true satisfaction. When He states, I am the light of the world, He is revealing that only through Him can we see the truth. This connection between the Old and New Testaments shows us that God has not changed. The same God who guided Moses and the Israelites through the desert is the God who is with us today. This means that He continues to be our source of provision, our protection, and our guide. But what does it mean to trust in I Am in daily life? It means understanding that we are not alone, that even in the most difficult moments, He remains by our side, that our limitations do not prevent Him from acting, that we can rest in His faithfulness. Throughout history, many people have tried to redefine God. Some cultures created gods based on their own desires and needs. Others tried to completely eliminate the idea of a creator. However, the truth remains. God exists regardless of what we think about Him. His identity does not depend on our acceptance or rejection. And this is one of the reasons why this revelation is so powerful. When God says, I am, He is reminding us that He is sufficient. He is the source of everything we need. He is the answer to our doubts. He is the foundation of our faith. In light of this truth, the question we must ask ourselves is, are we living as if we truly believe it? Often, we seek answers in the wrong places. We look for security in material goods, in relationships, in our own strength. But all these things are fleeting. Only God is eternal. If you are facing challenges, feel lost or unmotivated, remember what He said to Moses. The same God who called Moses by name also knows you. He knows what you are facing and wants you to know that He is with you. Now, an important question: how does this revelation impact your life? Have you been trusting in I am, or have you been trying to solve everything on your own? Don't leave without first checking out what we have prepared for you. In the first pinned comment, we have left a special resource that can transform your view of God and help you understand this powerful revelation even more. In light of this truth, we are called to respond. The I Am is not just a theological statement, but an invitation to trust in a God who is eternal, unchanging, and sufficient. If God is all we need, then why do we continue seeking security in fleeting things? Today, you have the chance to hand over your worries, doubts, and fears to the only one who never changes. Don't delay this decision. Trust in the I Am and allow Him to transform your life. Don't forget to check out the special resource in the first pinned comment. It can change everything for you.